Halloween Ends may not have been the gore-filled slash fest that many fans were expecting, but I think that lofty expectations can sour our potential for true experience. If we went into every situation with high expectation of what could happen, we would more often than not be disappointed with what actually transpired. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, I am Macabre Mary, a horror author, artist, and general content creator here on YouTube. Today I'm going to be doing a movie review for you guys, something that has been highly requested for several months now, and I'm finally at a point where I think I can do them justice. So today, as the first of hopefully many, I present to you my reaction, review, and analysis of Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends may not have been the gore-filled slash fest that many fans were expecting, but I think that lofty expectations can sour our potential for true experience. If we went into every situation with high expectation of what could happen, we would more often than not be disappointed with what actually transpired. The best advice I've ever followed was to temper expectations and evaluate based on what was presented instead of what could have been hoped for. Despite having only come out 10 days ago at the time of me filming this, David Gordon Green's Halloween Ends has gotten a very mixed reception from fans of the Halloween franchise.
Michael Myers was the personification of evil.
Evil can be awakened by the hatred we encounter in our day-to-day lives. Our experiences color our view of the world around us, but ultimately we are the deciding factor on whether or not we externalize that evil. It really comes down to the age-old debate of nature versus nurture.
It's up to each of us whether or not we lock the door and find our resolve, or let him inside.
Now, I really don't care if I get railed for this opinion, because I happen to like a lot of things that people proclaim to hate. And I think there are a lot of hateful opinions on the internet. And people are all too often excited to share them. So if you're watching this right now, expecting me to badmouth Halloween Ends, you're probably going to be disappointed. I actually really enjoyed this movie for what it was. The end of the new canon Halloween tetralogy was never meant to be a standalone film. It was meant to tie up loose ends and answer the question that has been burning in the brains of fans for literal decades. How did Michael know how to drive a car? Just kidding. We already know he's magical. But why was Michael invincible? The answer to this, much like the answer for why people are more inclined to leave bad reviews than good reviews, is that hate is a powerful force. In the Halloween universe, hate, rage, and murder are fuel for the paranormal life force that has been keeping Michael so strong and homicidal for so many decades.
There's someone else down here!
Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though. First, let's address the storyline that precedes the explanation of Michael's invincibility. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen this movie yet, this is your opportunity to stop this video, go watch the movie, and then come back and finish. I implore you to watch the movie with an open mind and leave all expectations at the door. Take the movie for what it is, and you'll likely find more to enjoy about it. Okay, if you're still here, or if you've just come back from watching the movie, thanks for coming back. Let's get into the breakdown. 4 years after her last encounter with masked killer Michael Myers, Laurie Strode is living with her granddaughter and trying to finish her memoir. Myers hasn't been seen since, and Laurie finally decides to liberate herself from rage and fear and embrace life. However, when a young man stands accused of murdering a boy that he was babysitting, it ignites a cascade of violence and terror that forces Laurie to confront the evil that she cannot control. Now that we have a basic understanding of what to expect based on the movie's official summary, let's get to know the characters a bit better. Unlike the other canon Halloween movies, this final installment introduces a new main character, and while he takes up a good amount of screen time, I'm not sure whether or not I would label him as a protagonist, although I'm still divided on this. If he is a protagonist, then he's one of three, Laurie and Allison being the other two. And he's more of an anti-hero to the storyline. Let's take a look at Corey. A prospective engineering student, Corey is presented as an innocent do-gooder. We see he has the best of intentions as Jeremy's babysitter, even if he is just trying to save up money to go to college. We see him make the responsible choices, like passing up on a beer and instead going for some chocolate milk, since he knows he's going to be responsible for a child for the night. When Jeremy suddenly is nowhere to be found, we see Corey express the appropriate concern.
Jeremy?
Despite being sketched out for his own safety. Michael Myers is, after all, still out there somewhere, and Jeremy instilled the appropriate fear that
Michael Myers kills babysitters, not kids.
When we see that Jeremy is the one who has set Corey up in a prank to scare him and intentionally locks Corey in the storage room upstairs, we know that things are about to turn sour. With no ill intent whatsoever, Corey lets his fears get the better of him and begins to kick the door down. How is he to know that Jeremy is standing right behind it? When Corey kicks the door open, it hits Jeremy so hard we see him get yeeted over the banister and fall 3 stories to his death, just as his parents are walking in the door. There goes Corey's future as an engineer.
Easy money.
Now, let's take a look at the genre's most famous final girl.
That makes you want to rip off your shirt and show grief your fucking tits and say, you know what?
Everyone who knows the Halloween franchise knows who Laurie Strode is, but I'm including her here because of her pivotal role in the movie, despite her less frequent screen time. Laurie has made a lot of changes since the last movie, Halloween Kills. It has been 4 years since Michael killed her daughter and vanished into thin air, and this experience, while devastating, has transformed her. She realizes that at some point she has to live her life, and that 40 years of fear is enough. She returns to the suburban life, is living with her granddaughter, and trying to normalize her otherwise tumultuous existence. This reinvigoration of Laurie Strode reminds me of the pre-Michael Laurie, who just wants to be happy and live her life in the most mundane and domestic ways possible. There's, of course, nothing wrong with that, but it's not a transformation that many horror fans are used to seeing in a final girl. Next, we have Allison. Allison from the get-go is obviously still dealing with her own demons. You can see that she hasn't gotten through her own traumas, but then again, she hasn't had 40 years to dwell in them either. It's clear that Allison desperately wants to move forward with her life, but without a way to navigate what she's feeling, she's stuck in what, to me, comes across as a long, drawn-out grieving process, or even a lasting depression. She doesn't even self-advocate. But when she meets Corey for the first time, it's like she's found a kindred spirit, someone who's dealing with intense pain but also doesn't know how to appropriately handle it.
Why can't the bison stand on its own?
No, it can't. It's got a kickstand.
Because it was too tired.
The most obvious antagonists for the better part of the movie are a group of 4 teenage marching band jerks.
Give me the idea.
A slightly refreshing change from the jock-jerk trope that we're used to seeing. Now, you're meant to hate them. It's incredibly easy to hate them, particularly the two boys, and perhaps less so the fluffy-haired Margot, who sticks up for Corey, albeit not successfully. Suffice it to say that the ringleader, Terry, his sidekick Billy, and what I can only deem as mean girl Stacy, go from demanding Corey buy them alcohol.
We were just hoping you could be a cool new friend, you know? Buy us a couple of six-packs. No. No, thank you.
To accusing him of being a murderous pedophile.
You did something messy.
You're that psycho babysitter.
He killed that kid, didn't he?
Yep.
You're some little pedo.
Look at
Isn't that fair? That what you want? A little fucking pedo creep?
They shove him down to the ground, causing him to seriously cut his hand on a broken glass bottle as a result when he refuses to break the law. I think the interactions that Corey has with these high schoolers are very indicative of who Corey is as a person. He's not someone who enjoys confrontation, so he has to let his anger and frustration build up within him, and he has no safe way of releasing it into the world.
Are you the psycho or the freak show?
As a result, the bond that is created between Corey, psycho babysitter Cunningham, and Laurie, freak show Strode,
So do you want to do it? You want me to?
is quick and deep. So much so that Laurie immediately introduces him to her granddaughter when she takes him to a medical clinic to get fixed up.
This gentleman had an accident.
The connection between Corey and Allison is also quick and deep. Their awkwardly cute interaction lends to a shy but promising romance between two people who are grieving their past. Unfortunately, Allison is the only one who has the benefit of a supportive familial relationship.
You know, you need to find someone that can let go, that makes you want to rip off your shirt and show grief your fucking tits and say, you know what? Let's go.
One where she is encouraged to heal and move on.
What the hell are you doing? Who's that calling you under the dinner table?
No.
Who's that person you're texting?
It's normal.
For fuck's sake, he's in his mid-20s.
Boys who keep secrets don't get custard for dessert.
Allison uses her shitty car as an excuse to see Corey at his job. They have a moment, and then we get to see dipshit Terry being bullied by his daddy.
Fucking genius.
Big surprise.
Fucking genius.
One of the main antagonists of the movie has daddy issues.
Fucking genius.
In all seriousness though, trauma and transformation are the name of the game in this final installment of Halloween. Most of all, we see the effects of the transformation of Laurie Strode herself. As a survivor of trauma, Laurie has made a huge change in her life through her decision to seek help. They took this opportunity to bring in an honest narrative of what it's like to begin to heal from something so life-shattering, and I thoroughly appreciate that as someone who has been in a similar situation, minus the supernatural serial-killing monster. Laurie's ability to go to a supermarket, find someone she has something in common with, and let her defenses down is significant in her development as a character who has actual human traits and not just the embodiment of a trope well past its prime. It's also just kind of great to see Laurie have a modicum of girlish shyness left.
I like your face. I mean, I like seeing your face.
So do you. I mean, I do too. I like seeing you too.
A great callback to the original Halloween, where we see Laurie bashfully angry that her friends were trying to set her up with her crush, Ben Tramer.
What would you say if I told you that you were going to the homecoming dance tomorrow night?
I'd probably say you had the wrong number.
Well, I just talked with Ben Tramer and he got real excited when I told him how attracted you were to him.
Oh, Annie. Oh, you did. Please tell me.
All of these good vibes come crashing down, as they often do for people who have as large a case of survivor's guilt as Laurie does, when she's accosted outside of the store by the family member of a survivor of Michael's most recent reign of terror. Of course, Laurie can't be allowed to move on if other people are still hurting.
You okay?
There seem to be a lot of lessons in this film that all boil down to one general idea. Don't be a dick. That goes for everyone involved in this story, not just the good guys or the bad guys. Without getting too cerebral with the message of the last movie in a slasher horror franchise, to me it's clear that kindness and understanding go a long way and that just a little bit more of both, and the narrative could have been the difference between Corey being a true protagonist and the anti-hero he ended up being. Corey's life went from the potential of a promising future to consistently being kicked over and over again while he was down. 4 years since the accident, and he's not even afforded one night of letting loose at a Halloween party at the bar.
Hey man, can I get a beer?
Hi. Is this your dance? No, you don't understand if you think you can come here and take off your little mask.
This is where Corey's trajectory in life changes forever, with no going back. With alcohol to lower inhibitions and fueling a frustration that had already been bursting at the seams, Corey blows up on Allison for her daring to bring him out into public so he could be attacked for his past.
I'm the psycho babysitter. I'm the fucking kid killer. And you think you can fix me, but you can't.
Of course, this wasn't Allison's intention. She just wanted to show him that it was okay to have a good time. But this traumatic encounter causes Corey to take off, intoxicated and angry, almost getting hit by a truck as he stormed away. Intoxication can cause people to do stupid things. And such is the case for Corey when he is assaulted by the teenage band jerks who conveniently see him walking on the bridge.
What is your problem with this kid?
Dollar store designer friend?
Are you okay?
Corey, who at this point is fed up and filled with liquid courage,
You just act like a goddamn asshole because your father treats you like one.
decides to stand up for himself.
What did you just say to me? I know what it looks like when somebody hates you. When your father fucking hates you. He hates me?
And ends up being tossed over the bridge and left for dead.
He hates me? Shit!
The most intriguing part of the movie begins to show its face here, when Corey's seemingly lifeless body gets dragged into the sewer. What happens next is arguably what has caused so many people to blow a fuse. As he's headed for the drain pipe to get out of the sewer, he is suddenly grabbed by Michael. They meet eyes as Corey feels the life draining from him. But what transpires can be interpreted as many things. My interpretation of what happens in this prolonged eye contact is that Michael could see the things that had haunted Corey and the pain and trauma that he had dealt with as a result. He could see the darkness that was teetering on the edge just under the surface of Corey's innate kindness. So we've gotten our first glimpse of Michael Myers, who seems to be hiding from the world, barely clutching to life, but still soulless and homicidal. My theory here is that Michael's strength is drawn from the fear that he inspires in people, which in the past has given him supernatural strength. Now that his biggest target no longer allows him to hold power over her, he has become a shadow of his former self. But upon seeing the anger behind Corey's eyes, he seizes an opportunity to perpetuate this growing evil. Michael does the unthinkable. He lets go of Corey, allowing him to escape. And since Corey already has one death on his conscience, when a homeless man attacks him with a knife, we already know he's going to defend himself.
I'm Michael Myers. No!
This fresh kill, while not premeditated or intentional, is perpetrated by his own hand and not as a result of some unfortunate prank gone wrong. What follows feels like a transformation.
Hey! Where have you been? I have been worried sick!
From misunderstood to an awakened darkness that starts in his eyes. He then goes to Allison's house where he tells Laurie he's looking for Allison, who he apologizes to and asks for a chance to talk and explain the truth of himself. Laurie sees the darkness in Corey's eyes and is immediately apprehensive. where she was previously quite friendly to him. It seems as if this awakened darkness has given him the confidence to be honest with Allison about his past.
I killed someone.
He takes her to the home where the kid died.
That's all, just a good night. And then it all went bad.
Ultimately, the couple grab some beers at a diner and have a deep conversation about the unfairness of everything, and how they both want to burn it all down and escape from what feels like a hell for both of them. Allison's cop ex, who won't seem to leave her alone, comes over to the table, to which there is an obvious pushback.
Whatever you guys are doing.
Good.
Okay, you're good? Well, let me tell you, it's, change your mind.
She said we're good.
You need to leave!
Obviously, it's an incredibly healthy relationship dynamic.
Hey, buddy, you got a problem?
We're good.
Oh, shit. Allison. So you call Mr. Aggravated Manslaughter at night when you can't sleep? When you see the boogeyman in your nightmares, you feel safe with this guy? Hey, man. Listen around.
Two tormented souls feeding into each other's self-destructive tendencies.
Just burn it all to the ground.
Oh, like the match.
It's clear that Corey knows what he's doing when he sees that Officer Mulaney has been following him and Allison, but lures him into a trap instead of handling it in a socially appropriate and ethical way. What we see is Corey allowing himself to be sucked in by Michael's darkness. Not even just that, though. We also see him luring Michael into awakening his own darkness once more. They share several kills.
Got some acid?
Until eventually Corey just wants to take over for Michael. No longer satisfied with being the sidekick, he wants to be the one who strikes fear into those who have abused and traumatized him.
What the fuck? He's dead! Get it!
One after another, we see Corey take out the people who have done him harm. A personal vendetta against all those who have made his life a living hell. The band jerks get the extra special treatment though, namely Terry. I have to admit, Terry's kill was the one that really impressed me with its sheer brutality, although the excision of the radio host's tongue was interesting enough. All of this set Corey up for the final showdown. Lori's ruse of calling 911 and reporting her intention to end her own life it was all done for show. I do think it's interesting how many viewers were confused as to what her intention behind that whole ploy actually was, though. Lori never intended to actually harm herself, despite what some people may have gleaned from that scene. Instead, it was an elaborate way to draw in the person she knew would be coming for her, and a way to prepare herself for the showdown that might help her meet her end regardless. Corey's decision to take his own life was a selfish one, because if he couldn't have Allison, then he was going to make damn sure that she would never trust Lori again.
Did you really think that Allison was going to be with you? If I can't have her.
He knew that Allison would walk in to find Lori standing over his dead body, which drove Allison and Lori apart immediately, leaving Michael an opportunity to come back and claim his mask. The final scene, the one that got the most attention in the trailer, happens between Michael and Lori. But Allison is brought to the realization that Corey was truly a monster when she gets a concerned call about Lori's report to 911.
Allison, where's Lori? We're responding to a call. She called in a suicide.
Just as she's seeing the radio station up in flames. Michael and Laurie's scene was one that we waited for over 40 years to see. It was close, personal, perhaps even a little intimate in an abusive sort of way. It's when Laurie pins Michael down with several knives and a refrigerator that we finally get to see Laurie take full control. Allison arrives just in time to save Laurie when Michael is about to regain the upper hand, allowing them to finally end it. The city of Haddonfield's midnight procession for Michael is their way of saying goodbye to their boogeyman. And no, maybe there's not any kind of realism in the fact that the sheriff was on board with their macabre mulching of Michael's body at the junkyard, but let's be honest. Were you really watching this movie for the realism? With Michael dead, there is finally closure, not just for Laurie and Allison, but for the whole town. A town that has lived in the shadow of fear of Michael Myers for over 40 years is finally at peace.
The body of Michael Myers was disposed of in a midnight procession. There would be no tombstone, no memorial. The mysteries were put to bed, and the story as we told it was to fade with time.
While I'm disappointed that there was not more slashy goodness sprinkled throughout the movie, I have to admit that the amount that was in the movie was actually pretty perfect. We may expect a lot of kills in these kinds of movies because, let's face it, in the past, these movies were rated by how many unique and interesting kills they could jam-pack into the script. Instead, we got an actual storyline, character development, and elevation of the Halloween franchise from mindless killing to a psychoanalysis of trauma, grief, and the road to healing. Remember, evil can be awakened by the hatred we encounter in our day-to-day lives. Our experiences color our view on the world around us, but ultimately, we are the deciding factor on whether or not we externalize that evil. Corey decided to externalize that evil, and it inevitably led to his demise. Allison and Laurie decided to work through and grow from the evil they had endured, and as a result came out stronger on the other side together. Now, if you guys couldn't tell, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and as always, I recommend that you watch it too. But not because I can guarantee that you'll enjoy it as much as I did, but because you're an individual with the right to your own opinion. I just ask that you keep an open mind, and remember that just because you don't like the movie doesn't mean that it was garbage. In the same way that just because I like a movie doesn't mean it was a huge success. As always, guys, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you enjoyed my content. If you have future recommendations or requests for content, please let me know in the comments below. Also, if you disagreed with my opinions, feel free to respectfully mention so in the comments. Remember to check out my other social media accounts here. Check out my merch where you can find all of my original artwork and sick t-shirts. The link is in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Check out some of my other videos while you're at it, and remember to stay hydrated, take your meds if you have to take meds, and be good to yourself because someone has to, and it might as well be you.